Good evening, race fans. I'm Pirate here with Black Flag Racing TV and GTChampions.com. We're here for the GT Champions World Cup All Stars. Very shortly, we'll have an interview with the man himself, Mr. Chris Ball, and my other co-commentator, Tatiana. I'll be with you very soon for that. Meanwhile, let's have a track guide for today. All right, cool. Right, I'm going live. Right, how you doing? That was the track guide video you just saw. I have got with me the great Chris Ball and the even greater Tatiana. How you doing, guys?
There you go. Good. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. How does it feel to be the other side of the broadcast this time? The one being broadcast upon.
Well, what's funny is I'm trying to talk to you and drive at the same time. It is not working. I'm just going to pull my car over.
What about you, Tatiana? How are you feeling about today? Who's going to win the battle of the broadcasters? Because no one cares about anyone else. Everyone just cares about you two.
Really the most important. I really wish we could have been together. I was thinking to myself, all right, why don't you request that they, send you back a few positions, let everybody else move up and go race with Chris. But then I was like, that is not how winners roll. You got fourth. You take that. So I'm hoping that Chris can catch up. You know, there's a lot that can happen on this track. But what I'm feeling is really good. I love this. We're here to show these guys we don't just blah 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 about this. We can race too. We're here, so it's gonna be a good time.
Tricky circuit, Road Atlanta, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it's got its moments.
It's such a good time, and I'm always amazed at how fast the lap it is. Because if you ever come here, it's a huge circuit. Like, you know, the grounds are humongous, and the circuit goes pretty much throughout the entire grounds. But you know, it's only a minute and 17 or 18 second lap, which is crazy.
You know, it reminds me of Brands Hatch in a way. It's kind of it's almost as though the Nordschleife and Brands Hatch had a little tiny baby road racetrack, because it's got the kind of hills and the undulations of Nordschleife, but that kind of quick, fast corners of Brands Hatch.
Yes, with, you know, about the same amount of runoff between the grass and the wall as Brands Hatch too, huh?
Oh yeah.
You know, the walls are really close here. They're closer than you think because you're going so quickly. So I can see that. Yeah, this is like America's Brand Hatch meets the Nordschleife.
Yeah, definitely. So how you guys feeling about moving into 2023 with GT Champions and how things are going?
That's a question for
That is a really good question. I mean, it depends on how the game evolves, right? Like each time they bring out, you know, new content, new tracks, it just makes it a lot easier for us to put on better events, right? So, like the Porsche Cup, which is coming in January, and then after that's over, we'll be doing the next World Cup Season 5, right? So that's, but it all depends on how the, you know, Polyphony puts together their software package, right? Because we need to have other stuff, like replays would be nice to have back, or keyboard shortcuts so that the broadcast can look better.
But keyboard shortcuts, I miss them so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Every update, I'll plug in my keyboard just to test. I'm like, maybe no one's reported it. And of course, everyone, you know, every single update is well documented. And I don't know why I think I'm going to find that the keyboard shortcuts has come back and somebody missed it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be, it's definitely something I'm waiting for. That's for sure.
Why do you think they're drip feeding the kind of lobby stuff? Because you would have expected with the success of GT Sport, you would have thought that moving into GT7 they would have transferred that success immediately across. But they seem to be kind of drip feeding the functionality of the lobbies, don't you think?
Well, I think from being a guy that works in, you know, the telecommunications industry, Tatiana also works in that same area. The software development isn't always just, take what was working and make it better. Sometimes you have to start all over in order to get some functionality that you want. Maybe the original GT Sport was written in a different code or language, or had some other stuff in it that GT7 just can't support, right? And so they have to rewrite the code to make it work. So I think they pretty much ground up built this thing, and I think the biggest problem was COVID, right? I think COVID was the biggest problem because it ruined the deployment of software, because everyone was so far behind, and so they rushed it out. Instead of trying to do just a PS5 version, they had to make it cross-platform, and I think that's what really did them in.
That definitely,
that's my opinion.
Some development manpower. I think also that GT Sport was a lesson, the GT Sport launch rather, because GT Sport was always advertised to be an online competitive racing title, you know, not a full entry into the Gran Turismo, I guess, pantheon of games, if you will.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't the whole thing.
Yeah, the protestations that came from people who were big offline players really caught PD off guard. And I remember for the first few months, they were scrambling to create offline content for this game. And I think they recognized, okay, well, this is our first full entry since Gran Turismo 6. We definitely better not mess it up. We have learned how important the offline component is to people. And so they focused on that. And yeah, unfortunately, it means that online has suffered. But, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. I guess we're feeling the same disappointment that the offline drivers were feeling in 2017.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but
as you know, I commentate for. I don't just do GT7. I do F1 2022, and they get something very right online there. With in terms of the lobbies are very good. Some of the information you get back is very good. But what is lacking, and you notice every time, is that GT7 just has the superior graphics, the superior sounds, and it just stands out for that. Better than ACC. I mean, yeah, you've got ACC and you've got F1 and you've got all these other racing games where the physics feel very real, but it doesn't look beautiful like GT7.
Yeah, it's a very glossy game. I will say that these games look gorgeous. And I wish we could get like a Assetto Corsa physics with this skin.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Anyway, back to the race. Who's going to win out of you two? Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna beat her.
Again.
If I said anything else, I wouldn't be a race driver.
I hope we get to battle. I really do. Via you catching up to me, that is. Or maybe, a little strategy situation. But I think it'll be...
Well, I've got some stickers on my car for you when I'm in front of you and behind you. So, when I get closer, you...
Oh, I wish I had my livery.
Well, listen, guys,
this
has been really, really cool. And it's good to have you the other side for a change so we can see what you're all about. It's lucky I'm not racing because I'm really, really slow and it'd be very embarrassing for GT champions to see me in a race car.
Well, I'll tell you what, I need to get going and get my brain focused on this race. We've got about 10 minutes before the race is going to start. So,
absolutely. And
I'm driving around without my engine noise.
Cool. Listen, guys, have fun. And we'll catch up. I'm sure we'll catch up before Christmas.
Thank you. Good luck, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Good luck, Taddy.
Bye.
Bye.
So there we go, guys. That was Tatty and Chris, who are going to be battling it out between themselves for the title of Best Commentator. How about that? So I'm just going to get myself jumped into the lobby. In the meantime, let's have a quick look at the grid for today. So this is how the grid lays out. And for some reason, it's gone the wrong way around. It should be the other way around. I thought I did load up the right one, but obviously not. So we've got the Truth Serum will be heading everyone out of the Truth Serum from Canada, of course. Joey Cannoli from the United States will be second. He's from Group 3. Group 2 driver again in third place. Bear with me, I'm just trying to bring up the lobby. And it's just crashed out on me. I'm going to have to reload the game, unfortunately, guys. Give me a sec. Because it has just decided to crash on me. So we've got Drew 7 from Group 2. He's in grid position number 1. Grid position 2, Joey Cannoli from Group 3. HPR82, also from Group 2. He's third on the grid. Then we've got Tati, who is up there in fourth place, heading up for the broadcasters there. Scarlett, winner of Group 4 from Belgium. He's in fifth place. And my mate Tom, Average Viper, also from Group 4. He is just behind him in sixth place. Let's see if it actually loads up properly this time and lets me into the lobby. Seventh will be Chevy 210 from the United States in seventh from Group 3. Then we have our first Group 1 driver, Luke Ars 36 from the United States. He's in 8th place. Ninth will be ATK 037. He's in 9th. Our glorious leader, Presidio Dog. He's in 10th for the broadcasters. So he's got some places to make up to catch up with Tati. Venom, he's there in 11th piece from Group 2. Roses, he's in 12th place also from Group 2. And hopefully I should be able to get into the room now if it lets me. And then we've got Madsen from Group 1. He's in 13th place. 14th will be Toolshed from Group 4. And Igorski, I spent a lot of time talking to him last season, who will be in last place, but not least, of course. So finally, the game is not frozen on me, and I can jump into the lobby as we go in. Now, just waiting for the screen to load. There we go. We are indeed loaded up. So, for those of you who don't know, I am from Black Flag Racing TV, loaning myself out to GT Champions, and I'm really honoured actually to be asked to do this event because obviously you've got your two main broadcasters are going to duke it out on the track today, and allow me to character assassinate as many people as I possibly can. Similar format, 90-minute race, of course. With the same kind of format, nothing new that we don't already know. Pit window where it usually is, 2 tyre compounds, the softs and the mediums. It's going to be fast, it's going to be frantic, it's a short track, it's a very quick track with some nice little technical sections. So I'm going to enjoy the race today. I think it's going to be an awesome race. There's some really quick guys in and amongst that starting grid. Some really quick guys, and I'm quite surprised actually where some of them have qualified, with Tati way up there in fourth. I've never seen Tati drive, of course, up there in fourth, and Rose is actually surprising me because I've seen Rose's race. He's actually raced with us at Black Flag as well, down in 12th place. So I would expect to see him, Igorski, muscling their way through the field early doors. Let's have a look and see what cars people are rocking. So the True Severan's gone for it's my favourite car out of this choice actually, the Supra GT 500. Awesome motor car. Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's in the GT 500. The Supra GT 500 for HPR. The GTR for Tati, good choice. And it's 10 minutes till race starts. How's about that then? Scarlet's gone for the GTR. Average Tom's gone for the Supra. Chevy's gone for the GTR. Lucas with GTR. Supra for 80k. Presidio Dog, he's gone for the GTR. Now, I think Supra's better suited to this track. A little bit more nimble for me. I think GTR is more about raw power, but to be fair, there's not much difference between those two cars. There we've got Igorski, he's in the GTR. Rose has also gone for that GTR, as has Mazda. Then we've got Toolshed in the Supra, and there's two hitting both from this. That's Venom, isn't it? Venom is N, and that is Igorski. He's gone for the Supra. Interesting that they've gone for different cars. Drivers to watch out for, I would assume. You've got Mazda there, he's an A+ driver. I would assume he would be pretty darn quick. But High Pre Rose as well. I know Rose is quick. I'm looking forward to seeing how he dives through the field. I think let's get in there and have a look at what sort of times people are chucking out practice-wise. That's what I think we should do. I need to be quick when pressing these buttons. Oh, back in the track. There we go. Correct button. I can't wait. As you heard, we were just saying, I can't wait for keyboard controls again. Love the keyboard controls. So, fastest man out there so far has been Lucas with a 1:18.2. And that's a pretty good time for this. And I want to have a look at all the liveries on these cars, what people have done, because some have gone for some of the classic racing liveries, like this Pennzoil livery on Lucas' car there, which is really cool. Presidio Dog, what's he gone for? Let's have a little look. It's going to be very RWB. Look at that. And he's gone for the yellow finish. It's quite a vibrant yellow and black, but a lot of yellow and black cars lately, I've noticed. HPR, he's gone for a very classic Castrol Toms. That is a proper classic car, that Supra there. I think that's straight out of the factory like that. I don't think he's done anything to it. Scarlet has gone for, that's another great ISO livery to be fair. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. Chevy, old classic shell livery on the GTR there. That is pretty cool. Tati's gone with the Pennzoil. And why wouldn't you? It is really classic. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tati's got for us today. I'm not interested in what everyone else is doing. I just want to see how Presidio and Tati get on. in their battle. I think that's going to be I think everyone should move out of the way and let those two just duke it out for 90 minutes. ATK, the Attack Motorsport livery, looking very, very cool. With a GT All Stars logo on there. I didn't actually get one of them. There is Toolshed. He's gone for the factory Castrol, straight out of the factory, no changes at all. You can't see their cars because they're sitting in the pits. Average Tom, Roses, Madstar, and Tristram, everyone's there, everyone's ready to go. A couple of minutes before we start. Now, 90 minutes of racing around here. It's going to be quick. Let's go on board with somebody actually and have a look and see and do the run. We did have the track guide, but let's do it from the onboard with one of these guys. So this is quite a tricky section because when you're coming into the hill, you can't really see over the crest of the hill. So obviously you're kind of relying on remembering which way the track goes as you go up the hill, rather than and actually seeing it ahead of you. It is very difficult. It's one of those tracks where it's very hard to plan ahead too much because you can't really see that much because it undulates so much up and down. It is very difficult to kind of see and visualise the sort of next corner, which is, the ideal way to race, and that's the advice I've been given. The ideal way to race is to, once you're in one corner, start thinking and looking ahead to the next corner. I mean, here you can do that. I mean, it's quite a nice little chicane here, but straight away again, you can't see the road ahead. Also, it means that if a car does go spinning out in front of you, the first you're going to hear about it is when you come over the brow of the hill and plough into the back of them, which is never a good thing. But so this is the full lap here. You come round to this right-hand side, and you can see that's the pit entrance there, coming over there, and it takes you into the pits, which comes out down here somewhere. I can't remember. I've lost the pit exit. I haven't driven many laps around here, and the reason being I just don't have the time. So many broadcasts going on. It's been a bit of a nightmare. Plus I've been tired. And anyway, just to let you guys know, right? It's 1:30 in the morning here, and it's really cold. It's not as cold as it was yesterday. You may or may not have heard if you've seen one of my streams earlier, but it was freezing cold in my house. My boiler broke down at 6 o'clock on Friday or 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So I phoned my brother-in-law who came round at 6 o'clock on Friday afternoon. He's a gas engineer. Looked at my boiler and said it's a problem outside. It needs to be done by the main gas people. He phoned them and they said they'd be here within 4 hours. They sent me a text message at midnight on Friday to say they would be soon. It is now 1:30 in the morning on Sunday. I still haven't seen them, and I had to hit the thing with a hammer and give it a good kick and switch back on and get it working. Don't know how long it's going to stay working for, but nice 4 hours there. It's been not far off 2 days. But there we go. And I stayed awake all bloody night last night waiting for them because they were supposed to be coming through the night at some point. So I've got this little fly fart of electric heater next to me keeping warm, and whatever's coming out of the stricken boiler. So if you hear my teeth chattering, don't be alarmed. I'm not frightened. I'm cold. No, it's not too bad. I can cope. I've got hot coffee keeping me grounded. So we aren't long for the start of this race now. Literally just waiting for them to line up. Now it is. It will be a sort of rolling start grid, of course, as you would expect. Just wet the whistle. Nearly 4 hours of talking earlier for our little charity event. So this is the culmination of the full season of GT Champions. It was an awesome season, and I've been really pleased to be involved in it. Didn't get involved from the start, unfortunately, but I did. I jumped in. My first race was the race at Daytona, which I will always remember quite fondly because I really, it was my first GT Champions race. Really enjoyed it. That was won that day by, where is he? That man right there, Average Tom. He was the man who won it that day, yeah, he hasn't won anything since. Ironically, but I'd like to think we've become, not I say best friends. It's I want. Do I want online IDs or do I want nicknames? Let's go online IDs. Yeah, let's go online IDs. Yeah, so yeah, I've met some good people through this and seen some great racing and really looking forward to next season. We've obviously got Porsche Cup coming up on GT Champions. We've got and then we'll obviously have the next season of GT Champions itself. The Digigaming event, which has just finished, was a roaring success, so I heard. I didn't get a chance to be involved in it, but to be fair, I was otherwise occupied with other things anyway. So didn't get a chance to get involved in it. I did get to catch a little bit of some of the broadcasts and some of the races, and it was very high quality stuff, I've got to say. But I think actually this is going to be a real doozy of a race, real doozy. Obviously going to be looking out for Tati, see what Tati has got to offer, and there is Presidio Dog, and they are going to be going at it, given the opportunity. I quite imagine it's going to be a bit of a ding dong between them two. Should they encounter each other on the racetrack, and I'm sure at some stage they probably will over the 90 minutes. Some of these drivers I've seen, and I know they're very quick, some of them not so much. So it'd be interesting to see how those I know fare against those I don't. So there's Venom, Joey Canoli, Igorski Viper, Bite the Roses, HPR, Toolshed and the Truth Serum all sitting in the pits waiting, just ready for this race to start. The fastest lap so far has been a 17.6. That's not a bad lap, that. I imagine, and it'd be interesting to see who, what strategies people run, whether they opt to go for, there's two distinct strategies. There is starting on those soft tyres and absolutely melting it from the outset and building up a bit of a gap, and then finishing on the not so grippy medium compound tyre, and sort of hoping you've built up a big enough gap, big enough deficit in the first half of the race to bring yourself home on the medium compound tyres. For me, I think the smart, I think it obviously depends where you start. Absolutely ready, always ready. I should probably tell him I'm ready. That'll be a yes. I hope he doesn't think I'm racing, because I'm bloody not. I've already raced against some of these guys in a friendly environment and got absolutely dogged. So no intention of going out on track and embarrassing myself in front of this lot. Someone picked up a pit line penalty. Oh, do you know what? That's a brutal penalty. Absolutely hate that one. And sometimes you pick it up and you don't realise, or I think it's actually it's bad when you pick it up, when you get it and you don't realise you got it. But it's slightly worse when you go over the line on the way into the pits and you know you're going to get it on the way out, and it's heartbreaking. But yeah. So guess what, guys? We're exactly 1 week away from Christmas. Well, we are in the UK. I don't know about elsewhere in the world, but here we are. So here we go. This is the last race of the season. We've got the Truth Serum leading them out from that right-hand side of the grid. And this will be interesting, this grid start. And what we've got to do, we've got to jump out and we've got to jump back in. And everyone away pretty well. That's a good start from HBR. Already side by side with the Truth Serum and up into the lead of this race. Good start from him, but Truth then goes very, very wide off the track. And I tell you what, that's not the way to take that corner. The Truth Serum out in the lead from the outset. Did get a bit of a challenge from from a couple of people there, but didn't work out too well. True Serum 1 second clear of Dirty Tatty, made up 2 places as Tatty up into second place. Average Viper, big moves from him up into third. So the top 3 are the Truth Serum from Canada, Tatty from the United States, Luke Arse making the move on Average Viper, and Joey Cannoli making a move through as well. Can't hold it off, and he's now under some pressure from ATK. And Joey Cannoli makes a mistake, just slowing up a little bit. It's all really frantic, really frenetic early on. Chevy making a move up past Joey Cannoli, up into 6th place. It is still the Truth Serum from Tatty, from Lucas, Average Viper, ATK, Chevy, as we're watching at the moment, in 6th place. Joey Cannoli down in 7th, but not giving up that 6th place without a fight, but has to defend from Roses. Roses coming from behind him. You know, Roses is very quick. He's got his way around the Group 4 winner, Scarlet, from Belgium. And hello, Pascal. How you doing? Hope you're okay. Madstar in 10th place. Venom is in 11th. Igorski already up from the back of the grid into 12th place, with Toolshed running in 13th. Where is Bossman? 6 seconds is the gap to HPR. So HPR off the grid, put a challenge in on Truth Serum, just too hot into that first right-hander. Found himself on the grass, now 6 seconds adrift. And Presido Dog into the pits to do some repairs. So not a good first lap start for the dog himself. So that's going to put him somewhere near like 30 odd seconds, 40 seconds back. Hopefully he can get back involved at some stage. So not a great start for him. So that battle between him and Tatty is going to have to wait a little while. It may be, if it continues like that, that his only interaction with Tatty will be her lapping him. So first blood to Tatty after lap 1. We're on lap 2 now. The True Serum already 2.8 seconds clear, setting the stall out very early on as to what their intentions are. And their intentions are just to hammer down 1:18.2. Fastest lap of the race from True Serum. Very clear what they want to achieve in this race. Tatty under some pressure from Lucas, who makes that move and up into second, dropping Tatty down to 3rd place. It's going to be down to strategy, and at the moment it's quite clear, 4.3 seconds clear, what the True Serum is intending to do, and that is absolutely build up as big a gap as possible. And then when strategies change at the pit window, to then switch it around and hope that the gap is big enough. Lucas up to 2nd place, just 9/10 clear of Tatty, who's got herself up into 3rd. And I'll tell you what, if she commentates and races this good, what else is she good at? In fact, I want to know what she's not good at, because I commentate because I can't race. She's bloody quick and a good commentator, so how about that? 1.4 seconds gap back to ATK. I was going to say Team Hyper, but they're not Team Hyper, are they? But under significant pressure at the moment from Average Viper, Tom there for Hyper, tucked in behind ATK, looking for an opportunity to get through. They're in the same car, so it's all about ability. Then we go 1.1 seconds back. There's Joey Cannoli for RWB, and I said it in a very kind of jokey Italian mafia way. And then look on the side of his car, and there he's got a Godfather symbol. So how about that? Bite the Roses. There he is. He's from Team Hyper. He's running in 7th place. He's just 7/10 back from Joey Cannoli. Roses obviously from the United Kingdom. One of my countrymen. Always going to support them a little bit more than everybody else. No offence. Chevy 210. I don't know what that stands for. I'm sure it's not the year he was born. It would make him incredibly old. Just 1.1 seconds behind Bite the Roses. At the moment, defending from Scarlet, who's only half a second back, and looks to be trying to find a way through. Penalty there for Mazda, half a second penalty. That's going to open up that 1.1 second gap quite significantly, and there it does. 1.8, 1.9 seconds, I think, by the time, even more than that, it's 2.2 maybe. 2.1 seconds it went out to, so quite a big time loss there. for Mazda, which does, well, I'll say that, then what happened to Chevy? There is Chevy. Was going very slowly, dropping back into the clutches of HBR. HBR, who we saw jumping the gun and giving True Serum something to think about early on. Now putting in the fastest lap. That's a 1:17.8 from HBR. So clearly on the wrong part of the racetrack at the moment. But just too hot into the first turn and found themselves bouncing across the grass like a broken lawnmower. And flicking all the way down the order. Half a second, or 2 seconds behind Mazda, but half a second ahead of Chevy, who is free-falling through the order at the moment. There is Igorski. He's running in 12th place from the United States. He is 1.2 seconds behind Chevy, just under a second ahead of OGR Toolshed. Toolshed from these two have raced plenty during the season, both from Group 4. Then it's the 32 seconds back to Venom, and he's got a 3-second penalty from the pit line. That's going to cost him big. And there is the big dog himself, 15th place. He did go into the pits at the end of lap 1 to repair some damage. Picks up a half-second penalty, being a little bit ropey with the track limits, but Venom in front has got a 3-second penalty, and that is going to allow Presidio Dog to just close up that gap. And we'll see here now, if we look on board, as we come over the brow of the hill and head towards that penalty line, look how quickly we will see him close down onto the back of Venom. And that gap, straight away from 5 seconds, is going to be down to a couple of tenths, if that. Does he get close enough? He doesn't. He hits the braking zone just before he can use that superior speed to get around him. Now, this is where he can just tuck in under that wing, take a little bit of slipstream round this fast right-hander, and try and find some way to slingshot out and take this 14th place from Venom, or is Venom just going to hold off? He's taking very different lines through there. But that is why he took that line. He was specifically eyeing up that overtake, and that drops Venom down to 15th place, and Presidio Dog moves up into 14th, and off he goes to charge. He's got 38 seconds to make up on Toolshed before he can start getting involved in the racing with the rest. This is the kind of point when you're in this position, you're kind of hoping a few cars in front of you get a bit tangled up and have a little smash-a-rooney, and just even the score a little bit. There is the I don't know what I call him, the truth serum, is the truth serum, or sodium pentothal, as he's known as to his friends. 4.3 seconds clear. Very, very obviously wanted to build a big gap early on, and put themselves in a strong position when it comes to the pit window. We're only 8 minutes in, so we're still some way from that pit window, which is going to be at the halfway point, as always with the GT Champions races. That at 40 minutes in, we open the pit, and at 40 minutes left, we shut it firmly in your face. That is when you pit for tyres. That is when you pit for fuel. The rest of the time, you just get repaired. Luke Arse, there he is, in second place. 4.3 seconds is the gap to the leader, but there's a bit of a different game plan going on between these front runners. So although they're spread out, we've got to bear in mind that they're all playing very different games. 6.7 seconds is the gap to Joey Cannoli. Got himself up into third place with ATK just 1.4 seconds back. So where we've got the front three quite spread out, from sort of Joey Cannoli back, there is still quite a bit of a battle going on. I mean, if you look just up at that mini-map, you can see it up there. I mean, I can point to it, but I think that you can't see me pointing. You can see where the front two are kind of hanging with each other, and everybody else is sort of piling on the back of Joey Cannoli. It's 1.3 seconds as a gap to ATK, and ATK has got Roses and Viper, the two high pre-drivers. It's almost though those two high pre-drivers are two hyenas hunting down their prey, and their prey today is some ATK. They want some ATK for breakfast, and technically, being that it's 1:49 9 in the morning here in the UK. It is significantly closer to breakfast time than any other meal of the day. And by the Roses and ATK, they're going at it now into this left-hander. Roses takes that inside line and makes it stick, although ATK did have the inside line on the return switch back right-hander, but I think he's just going to have to tuck in behind. So the Canadian tucks in behind the Brit into 5th place. Is it Average Viper's turn now to use that momentum to catch on the back of ATK? Can Roses help his teammate out here and just slow up enough to push ATK back into the clutches of Tom? Tati dropped out of that top 3, down into 7th place. Does have damage on the front of the car. Is it significant enough damage to be effective performance enough that she has to go in and repair it, or can she continue running? That's the question. As HPR has made some significant moves. Now remember, lap 1, HPR making moves onto Truth Serum went far too hot, all the way down the order into almost last place, working their way back up through the field now, up into 7th place. So some good solid racing from HPR 82, and they are currently the fastest person out there with 1:17.8 as the fastest lap. Tati relegated down to 8th place, but it depends on the game plan. You don't know what the game plan is in this race, so there we go. Chevy, there is Chevy in 9th place and got Mazda all over the back of them. It's only half a second the difference between these two, and this is a battle that is going to rage, because it looks to me that Chevy just not letting this car head go. And it's so frustrating when you are racing someone and you're both in the same car and you've got the same performance and there's no kind of additional tuning and bits and pieces like that. You are literally just at the mercy of the car. You really want to make sure that you're the one benefiting from the quality of the driving, and you're the one that nicks that place. Because there's nothing worse, and when it's a different car, it's not so bad. But when it's the same car, you want to be able to just do that. And there we go. We look on that left-hand side, and Mazda is through. Chevy back to 10th place, and these two are really, really bringing the race in. Is Chevy able to use that slipstream and get back involved with Mazda, or is this all over for Chevy? Is Chevy going to start falling backwards? Good overtake there from Mazda, though. Really, really solid, and made it stick. So a lot of the times, particularly on tracks like this, because it's a very technical, very twisted. Someone has hit a barrier and left it in the middle of the road, and there are no safety cars, obviously, in GT7, so we can't slow up the pack and send out a little brave man to go and pick it up. And Tati into the pits to do that repair. Was it Tati that took out the barrier, I wonder? And there's the repairs done, and Tati back out onto the racetrack. Now we might actually see a battle between Presidio and Tati as Tati comes out of the pits. What is going to be that gap when she comes out? Where is Presidio dog? Where is Tati? Still quite a gap there, to be fair. It's still a 40-second gap. But it's closer than it was, and that's what matters. Fastest lap for the dog is 1:18.9, well, 1:18.6. Fastest lap there. Fastest lap for Tati is a 1:19.4. So that's 16 seconds is the gap in the end between those two. So at that rate, I reckon we could be having a battle in about maybe about 5. Let's go about 8 laps, 8 or 9 laps. We could be seeing these two going at it, and we can see just how much that affected Tati's lap times. That damage went from doing low 1:19 to doing 23, 21, 20, 22, and there's that piece of advertising board in the middle of the road still there. We were talking to anyone that was listening beforehand will have heard the conversation about the graphics of this game and how awesome they are. And it's little details like that actually that kind of make it special. Out front there is no change. The Truth Serum of Canada is still in the lead of this race, 4.9 seconds clear. Did a very good job, initially going out there, hell for leather, absolutely battering it and getting themselves out in the lead of this race. And it's just kind of settled into a nice rhythm now and kind of managing their pace a little bit, managing that gap, because it is important to ensure that, it's one thing to go out there and open up huge gaps out the front and take everything out your tyres and take it out of your fuel and then put yourself in a difficult position when it comes time to start thinking about your pit strategy and when you want to come in and how you want to do it and that kind of thing. But what the True Cinema's done really well here is got that bit of a gap and can now manage that 4.8 seconds up and down. And the way that these drivers do it, and this is not something I can do because I'm never usually out kind of in the distance like that. You see it with the best drivers. What they do is they get that gap and they say to themselves, okay, well I need to look after my tyres, I need to look after my fuel. I want to put myself in the best position to have the strongest car towards the end of the race. And the way that they can do that is by giving themselves an arbitrary number. So you take your 5 seconds and you say, look, I'm going to go around at a steady pace. I'm not going to over push. I'm not going to try and build up a 50, 60 second gap. I'm going to look after my car now. I'm going to look after my tyres. Go as fast as I can without putting too much pressure on them, without putting too much load through the tyres or load or burning off the fuel. But I can manage that gap, and if the car behind decides to start pushing, I can then make the decision to either give it a little bit more because I've still got a little bit more in the tank to give and open that gap back up, or I can allow them to make that push and put the pressure on their car to make me stronger later. And that's generally what you find the best racing drivers, whether it be for real or racing drivers on any sim racing, any racing simulator, will do the same. The best drivers do anyway. There is Lucas. Now Lucas has two choices here. Do they really push? I mean, if you look at lap times, very similar, although we've just seen a 1:17.8 from Tristan. So he's going steady. He's not really. He's just absolutely hammered that lap in. But so Lucas, if you look, very, very consistent lap times. Only really half a second, not even half a second difference. About half a second difference. In those last sort of 8-9 laps, there's been about a half a second difference in terms of lap time. And that's another key thing for successful racing drivers. It's consistency, being able to put out the same kind of lap after lap after lap. And it might not be the quickest lap, you might have more in the tank, you might be able to put in, go a second faster or half a second faster or whatever it is. But what you're doing is you are consistently, I'll tell you what I didn't do, you are consistently on that time, as you can see why is that not coming out? There we go. I wonder what was missing from the top of the screen. You can consistently put out your same lap times. You can kind of, from there you can kind of make sure your race is going in the direction you want. So where are we? Let's go from the back. Venom still at the back of the pack, 23 seconds behind the big dog himself in the Loctite livery. I love that livery actually. So 24 seconds is the gap. Lapping around the low 120s at the moment, which is, I mean, it isn't hugely different from, it's only a couple of seconds off the front runners. The dog though, he's lapping at very similar times to those guys out in front, but unfortunately had to pit at the end of lap one, and it's sort of put him right back, 14 seconds in fact, off the back of Tati. Tati herself had to go in and do some repairs, and the gap was about 40 seconds when she went in with the repairs, and obviously there's a 1 second penalty there for the big dog. Desperately wants to get on to the back of Tati though, and have a little battle of the commentators. And I tell you what, it will be on if that gap comes down any further. Wet me throat. Tati, 5 seconds back from Igorski. One thing about Igorski I've noticed, and I noticed this in Group 4, is that it's another one of those drivers that's very consistent and will chuck in very similar lap times, but and will do the job very well and won't really make many mistakes. And what you find that gives you, that will always guarantee you a place or two gained, because someone in front of you is going to push a little bit too hard and make a little cock up, and then you can swoop in and steal that position for yourself just by being consistent. 5.9 seconds up the road is Toolshed. They're very used to racing each other, those two Gorski and Toolshed, from the Group 4 last season. But Toolshed's got another sight in front of him at the moment, and that is the car of Chevy 210 in the... so it's Castrol Thomas chasing down the Pennzoil. Half a second is the difference. In terms of lap times, what we got, Toolshed is pretty much, other than a bit of an anomaly there, in the sort of mid to high 20s. Chevy, very sporadic. He's capable of putting in sub 120 laps, but consistently not really there in the lap times. That's where a lot of drivers lose out. It's not having the consistency, and I'm one of those. You know, I can go around into logs and chuck out the lap of a lifetime, and then the next day not be able to string two corners together. Just the way I am. 7 seconds up the road from that battle is Scarlet in a bit of no man's land. No one really ahead to challenge, no one really behind putting a challenge on. There's a yellow flag up, but I don't know who's crashing, but we'll find out in a minute. There's two ways of looking at being in that position, Scarlet. You can, it can be a brilliant place to be in, because you can literally just get your head down, get on with just churning out your consistent laps one after the other, and work on your game plan and sort of, you know, lap after lap after lap, get them under your belt and sort of churn in and not have to worry too much about changing your line or defending or pushing too hard. But then there's the other side of it, that you are kind of on your own a little bit, and you haven't got the company of others around you, you know, pushing you on or dragging you along with them. So it's really what sort of mindset you can get yourself in when you're driving on your own, like Isis Scarlet is right now. But you know, he's been around the block a bit, he's been driving a bit, and there's a reason he is the Group 4 champion. So interesting to see if he can make any inroads into this man here, Mazda, crawling all over the back of ATK at the moment. As we see up here, we see HBR starting to work their way back up the field. So Mazda is just half a second back from the back of ATK, and it looks to me that the different strategies are starting to show on the racetrack. There is ATK, we look behind, and just under the wing there is the on-rushing car of Mazda. Looking forward to seeing if that comes to fruition soon. This man here, HPR, that one went on a grass cutting exercise, nearly challenging the truth serum, Mr. Sodium Pentothal, nearly challenging him for the lead of the race, and going in a little bit hot. At this corner here, went in a little bit hot and went very, very wide, and found us at the back, but chucking in some very, very quick lap times to start getting back up the order, and is closing down on the back of Tom. The Castrol Tom chasing down at the actual Tom, and it's just 0.7 of a second, flitting between sort of half a second and just over is that gap to average Viper. There he is. Is this it's interesting actually, because his teammate Biter Rose is up in third, a couple of places up, made the move around Joey Canoli, and I thought at one stage it might you might see the other Hyper driver following his teammate past Joey Canoli and being involved in that race there, but it didn't really come to fruition. And at the moment, Average Viper is worrying about the car behind, 2.4 seconds behind, the car of Joey Canoli, but just the car of HPR. It's just putting a little bit of pressure on. And I was going to say it's a time to be calm, but the back end of that car wobbling out and straight away HPR pounces like almost as though Viper was a stranded gazelle, and he was the lion ready to feast. And up into 5th place goes HPR. Can Viper come back at him? The wobble on the back of the car, and it's very unforgiving, this racetrack. We were talking earlier about how it's very much like Brands Hatch. But when you get a wheel on the grass, just a little, I mean, you can use those chevrons, but you go over those chevrons, you get a wheel on the grass, particularly a back wheel, while you're slightly turning the car, and you are spinning off into oblivion here. It's very unforgiving. And the problem as well is you've got, and there's a yellow flag up ahead, and that is Venom facing the wrong way. And I'm sorry, my friend, but you can't park that there. And Venom getting the car back on the racetrack. It's not going well. That's some significant damage to the front of the car. 49 seconds is the gap. That's going to be much bigger by the end of the race. So Venom with not having a day to forget. I was going to say not having a day to remember, but I suppose you are not having a day to remember. You're having a day to forget. Yeah, so we're going to have to repair that damage and get back running again. There we are, HPR. Not only got round average Viper, but already starting to open up a gap and showing the sort of pace that you would expect from a driver in their category. So next target for HPR is Joey Cannoli. That's 1.6 seconds up the road, 1.8 seconds up the road, there or thereabouts. And I love the colour scheme of that car. It's very, very pretty. It's almost if they weren't American, I would think that was a homage to a certain London football club. I would not name because I don't like them very much. But 1.7 seconds. HBR's target is up the road. As for Joe Cannoli, their target is this man here, Roses from High Pre, of course. His teammate just been overtaken by HBR, Average Viper. Roses is up into 3rd place, 14 seconds off the back of the Truth Serum, who's now conceded 1st place to this man here, Lucas. Lucas is up into 1st. The Truth Serum was at one stage, 5 seconds clear? Clearly had some damage. They've just overcooked it. And that was the thing, you know, when I was saying about being calm and just chucking those laps in, was it a case of Lucas was starting to put in a bit of pressure, starting to close the gap down, and Truth Serum decided to just push that a little bit harder and overcooked it and has done some damage to the front of the car. How much is that going to cost the Truth Serum here? How much damage has it done? Has it done enough to be affecting their pace significantly? Lucas up in the lead, 2.3 seconds clear, just heading past that broken bit of board on the road yet again. Still, nobody's gone out and collected it. The other thing is, I'm sure at this stage it would be smashed to smithereens as a car drive over it. That's part of my problem, is I would actively seek it out and see how much mess I could make, just because I could. So 2.6 seconds is that gap. Lucas in the lead. Oh, excuse me, I don't mean to be rude and yawn. I've been up for, apart from I had a couple of sleep, it's been over 24 hours. So there, 2.8 seconds is the gap out in front. The Truth Serum, who led for so long through this race, managed to survive the early battle with HPR. Although that battle could be back on very soon, because HPR has already got their way past Joey Cannoli. And I'll tell you what, he's got to be a shoe-in for driver of the day at the moment. Rose is in 3rd place, comfortably in 3rd at the moment, 12 seconds off that battle for the lead. Just putting in their best sector time there, after on 1:79, it's just off the pace of HBR. But excuse me, 4 seconds in front of HPR. Right, time to wake up. Big swig would be a caffeinated drink. And wakey. So that's the charge on HPR, making the charge now, opening already up a gap from Joey Cannoli, 1 second already, just on a massive charge. is HPR in this race. And I just wonder, had HPR not gone off the racetrack when they did on lap 1, just how far out in front would they be? Because this is some phenomenal pace they're putting in. You know, they were way down the order out, you know, with the tail end of the back markers down where Venom is now. But has absolutely made some overtakes to get back up there. So it's Lucas from The Truth Serum from Roses. That's your top 3. HPR angling for a place in that top 3. Joey Canoli running in 5th place with ATK 037. About to find out if they've got enough to stop Mazda from getting past them, because Mazda is crawling all over ATK. This has been going on for a little while now, this battle, and I'm wondering if it's a bit of a cat and mouse. Is Mazda staying in behind there and just allowing them to sort of pull them along, or is there genuinely trying to find a way through? Because sometimes you see two cars following each other for some time, and it is just a ploy to kind of stay in there, save some fuel, save some tyres. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like Mazda is putting as much pressure on the back of the Canadian as possible to, you know, force an error, find a way through, create some sort of gap, some sort of opening, be close enough to throw one down the inside when an opportunity presents itself. But at the moment, ATK is absolutely calm as you like in that car, and happy just to keep going, and a little bit of lag there, and that's Mazda's car is lagging all over the place around the corners, but this battle is properly raging, and still nothing, still no way through. Look at this. I mean, that's the back of an ATK's car, and maybe that's why, maybe that lag is the reason why Mazda is finding so much difficulty in getting past. Because I can tell you, when you are racing a car and you get these laggy cars on, whether it be in a daily lobby or a sort of large race like this, it's such a risky move to chuck your car past them and try and make that move. Because of the lag, you don't know where the car is going to be from 1 second to the next. And the last thing you want to do is be diving up the inside, and then all of a sudden the car is where you are. You're in a wall, that car's disappeared off up the road, and you've lost 4 or 5 places. So sometimes it is wiser just to stay tucked inside until an opportunity like this presents itself. And they're going to go side by side here. The inside line is going to belong to Mazda, but it's all about bravery on the brakes. How brave? And the answer to that question is very, very brave. And up into 6th place goes Mazda. Down into 7th goes ATK. Does ATK have anything to come back on this fight? Doesn't look like it. It looks like now Mazda is free. Mazda will fly. Fly, Mazda, fly. So, next up the racetrack, 8 seconds back, is the Belgian. Another European in there, Scarlett, the winner of Group 4. Running in 8th place, 8.3 seconds off the back of ATK. Nowhere near getting involved in that battle at the moment. But Average Viper starting to drop down through the order. 1.9 seconds back is Viper at the moment, and we can already see somewhere coming on the tyres. Well, I can see it, you lot can't. Yeah, but you will see soon enough when the pit window opens. The pit window will be open in about 10 minutes time or so. There or thereabouts. Chevy 210 is in a bit of a battle there. It's Toolshed, it's Chevy, and it's Tati. And Toolshed says, thank you very much. And Tati says, I'm coming with you. Back you go, Chevy. And there's nothing Chevy can do about it. The pair of them streaming through, Toolshed through, and Tati through. Tati making it very clear that anything that Toolshed can do, she can do better. And they're trying to now pull away from Chevy 210. Not to be mistaken for Beverly Hills 90210. No relation, I've been told. That's a 3-way battle for 10th place going on right now. It's 24 seconds back to Igorski, who is about to be lapped by Lucas Presidio Dog. He has already been lapped by Lucas, but he is only 2 seconds from the back of Igorski, and looking to close up and get involved. So You know, at one stage, at the end of lap 1, when he had to come in and do some repairs, he was significantly off the back of the pack, about 40 odd seconds. But that's now changing. The pack has come to him, and the race is on. We were all looking forward to a big race between him and Sati, but it's just not happened here. It didn't go too well on lap 1, and when you have a problem like that on lap 1, it's so difficult to kind of get you, because your game plan's gone out the window. Whatever you were planning, in terms of strategy, in terms of pace, in terms of all those kind of things, it just disappears out the window, and you have to kind of think on the fly and change your plan, and it can get really, really frustrating. But Lucas is through. The Drew Simmer is starting to come through. And I'll tell you what, that just goes to show the level of pace out front for these guys, because they are. We're only on lap 27. We're only 36 minutes into this race, and already we're staring down the barrel of some lapped cars. Venom really struggling. Venom is way back. We saw Venom parked up sideways into a wall. It's not been going too well for Venom in this race. 1 minute 13 seconds back. That's almost an entire lap behind the big dog himself. So we talked about building a big gap. At one stage, there was a similar gap to this between True Serum and Lucas, but Lucas was the other side of the gap. Now it's all changed. He's starting to ramp up the pace. 7.2 seconds they lead at this race at the moment from sodium pentothal, the Truth Serum. 11.8 seconds is the gap back to this man here, HPR. HPR is now in third place. Where is Bite the Roses? Bite the Roses has had a little smasheroonie and has dropped out of the top 3 behind Joe Canoli, behind Mazda, slotted nicely in between Mazda and ATK. So penalty and some damage to repair there for the High Prix driver. There's your leader. 8 seconds clear. Coming up behind Venom. I think he's still lapped them for a second time. It's not a day to remember for Venom. But what I will say is they're still in the race and they haven't quit. And that's my big bugbear. And I've seen it. We've been doing Black Flag. We've been doing some endurance stuff, and it's very clear from the outset it's a 3-hour race, and yet we've had people quitting out of a 3-hour race. To be fair, we've also had people quitting out of a half-hour race because it wasn't going too well for them. I've made my feelings clear about Rage Quit. I'm one of those drivers that drives around at the back, and whether it's a 10-minute race or a 10-hour race, once I commit to the race, if I'm last and I'm being lucky, it is what it is. I continue going. And I think it's really shitty behaviour if someone that's not having such a great race just rage quits out because it's not going their way. I can't win, I'm not going to play kind of attitude. That's the way I look at it. But then, if I was one of the fastest drivers, I probably wouldn't care so much. But there is your leader, and the gap's not even maintaining, it's just getting bigger and bigger. 8.2 seconds back to the Truth Simon in the Castrol. 10 seconds to HPR. The top 3 now starting to just demonstrate the difference between them and the rest. As they and HPR, I've got to say, what a drive from HPR thus far, because they were in second place. In fact, they were behind the Truth Serum on lap 1, and putting the big squeeze on to take first place, and just overcooked it a little bit, found themselves on the grass, and have had to work their way all the way up through the order to get back involved with that battle. And if someone could tell me what flag that is, that would be well useful. I don't recognise it. I'm assuming it's some sort of US colony, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not brilliant with flags. I mean, I recognise the rest of them, but then I often mistake the Aussie and the New Zealand one. I think that's the Aussie one, because the New Zealand one's got like some extra bits in it. But anyway, so top 3, Lucas, True Serum, HPR. Then we've got 7 seconds back to Joey Canoli in 4th place, the godfather of sim racing, or so I've been told. That may or may not be true. 2 seconds is the gap behind Joey, and that is Mazda. Not to be confused with the Japanese car maker. That's a Nissan. That's Mazda in a Nissan. It's not Nissan in a Mazda. They are trying desperately to close down Joe Canonium and maybe, just maybe, get involved in a battle out front, or at least a battle behind those front three. Roses had a little bit of a smash of Rooney from third place, now finding themselves not only dropping off the back of Mazda, 6.4 seconds back, but looks to be falling into the clutches of ATK. Attack being the operative word at this stage, because it is all about attacking by the Roses. And it looks to me that by the Roses is kind of holding out for a pit window here, which will be open in about 4 minutes. They're both in the pits. Are they just coming into repair? Because they're outside the pit window. But, or are they inside the pit? Oh no, we're inside the pit window now, aren't we? Of course. We've gone past 40 minutes. So inside the pit window, that's what they're waiting for. That's why they've held out for repairing the damage. So it's going to be about who's on what tyres. So I can tell you now that Lucas out in the lead, 10.6 seconds in that lead now, is on the medium compound tyres, and can and will and should, without question, stretch this out to the very last minute of the pit window. So B is basically going in before, just before the door slams shut on their face. The True Serum started on the soft compound tyres, has got a little bit of damage, which has slowed up the car, and they're dropping away from Lucas. Have just lapped Tati, but is dropping back into the clutches of HPR. Now, they're on the soft compound tyre, and it looked to be the early doors. Their strategy was to open up a really, really big gap, and maintain that gap, and then hope on the medium compound tyre that they could maintain some sort of gap. But it's not worked out that way, and actually they're going to find that the car they're chasing down in Lucas is going to be on better tyres for the second half of this race. We are at Road Atlanta. We are with the GT Champions All Stars. This is a mixture of some of the best drivers from across the 4 divisions of the previous season of GT Champions, along with 2 and 3. And there's a big spin there for the Truth Serum, just losing control and opting not to go into the pits then. And I thought they were a shoo-in for going in then, but have decided against it and are staying out for another lap. I mean, they've got the tyres there, but big tank slapper and very, very nearly had some great action for the broadcast. The broadcast, which, as I was saying, is the some of the best drivers from across the 4 divisions of GT Champions, and the 2 top broadcasters, leaving just a lonely old me to get my opportunity at the big time and to mix it with the big boys. And I will tell you how it is. This is how it is. Lucas is in the lead, and this lead is getting ridiculous. A 15-second lead on those medium compound tyres. And looks, to be honest, they could probably, the way they're driving, they could probably go all the way to the end of this race on that one set of medium tyres. They've done such a good job of looking after them. And that shot there for a minute, they were going to the pit. It did look like they just disappeared off onto the grass. But dives in, I think actually dives in a little bit earlier than they need to. I think they could have done 2 or 3 more laps. I reckon 3 more laps and then dived in would have been better. But they've got in it all the same. The Truth Serum decided to stay out for yet another lap. Does go back into lead this race, but it will only be very, very short-lived, because they will then peel off, I think, probably at the end of this lap. Get some repairs done, get some fresh tyres on, chonky up with fuel. Not a great deal, If you made it this far with half a tank of fuel, then just a little splash, a dash, and then off you go. 12 seconds back to Joe Cannoli. And that was awful Italian accent. And I'm sure there will be letters written in complaint to the channel, and they will be marked as urgent and put into the waste paper basket. Half a second, sorry, well, just over half a second, about 9 tenths ahead of Mazda in the Nissan. Don't get those two mistaken, two very different cars. And that is the battle for second on the racetrack at the moment. It won't be that way soon. There is the de facto leader of the race, just behind Mazda in fourth. Lucas comes out, has pitted, is now on that soft compound tyre with enough fuel to take them to the end of the race and a little bit beyond that should they need to. HPR out in fifth from the pits. Bad start to the race, but has recovered very, very well, and could potentially, I think, be up to second place when the Truth Serum comes out of the pits. And I actually think Truth Serum's going to drop outside the top three at the end of this pit window. Yeah, maybe they stayed out a little bit too long on those soft tyres. Don't know. I don't know if HBR's close enough. I think they are coming through now. Sixth on the racetrack, still needs to pit on the medium tyres. Currently is Division 4 winner Scarlet, Pascal Koeman from Belgium, part of the ICE racing team, and there he goes, pulls into the pits to change out for some soft compound tyres and a little splash of the expensive brown stuff. Tati in 8th place. That is comfortably midfield if there ever was a comfortable midfield. Tyres have been changed and fuel is on board, and off they go into the distance. They will probably go past Scarlet now. Yes, indeed they do. 20 seconds to ATK, who has already pit. That's got to be the target for Tati. Get on the back of ATK. Average Viper. There's nothing average about him at all. He is 6.2 seconds back from Tati in 8th place. Running on the medium tyres to the end of this race now. Under some pressure already from Toolshed, and we saw Toolshed actually was in the top three. We've actually got all the top three from Division 4 in the race today, and was really involved in, and especially towards the tail end of the season, really got involved in some great battles. And up into 8th place. Does it stick? Abso-flipping-lutely it does, but only very briefly, because it looks like Viper is having a go back. Viper does have a go back. They are side by side. This is Fast and the Furious stuff. We've got Brian O'Connor on one side. We've got firmly Vin Diesel on the other side. And who has got the inside line? Well, Viper's got the inside line. All about bravery on the brakes. Viper holding it. Toolshed sticking, so they're not giving neither of them is giving an inch. They're giving each other just enough room to race around the racetrack. But that is it. They are not giving up. Toolshed back into 8th place. Does he hold it this time? It looks like he does. Average Viper has to tuck in behind. Toolshed just wins out that battle as Mazda into the pits, and that frees Lucas back into the lead of this race. We are 50 minutes in. The pit window is about to slam very firmly shut. Who has not been in yet? Venom has been in, running in 14th place. Who have we lost? We've lost someone from this race already. By the Roses taking fastest up at 1:17.3. See if I can work out who we are missing. So there is Venom in 14th place. Igorski running in 13th. And Presidio Dog has got ahead of Igorski. He's up to 12th place. 20.8 seconds clear. Under some pressure now from HBR, who indeed did get up to second place, as I predicted, because I am brilliant at predicting stuff. That's it. I'm not going to justify it with any actual evidence. I'm just going to say that I said it, and that happened. 14 seconds is the gap up ahead to Scarlet from the Ice Racing team, who is crawling on the back Chevy. Is that battle going to rage? Is there an opportunity going to present itself? And Scarlet just closing that gap ever closer, looking for some sign of weakness, and looking pretty darn racy. And this is the difference between the soft tyres and the and the medium tyres. And I've got to say, and I know you can't see it because the banner is covering it, but Scarlet, I think, has kicked himself in the bum because he has overfueled his car significantly, shall we say. I don't need to show you to tell you, but there is a lot of fuel, and in this current cost of living crisis, you shouldn't be able to stop holding that much fuel. Besides, I don't know how you can afford it. But there we go. And that, I think that is making a difference, because I think if Scarlet had the right amount of fuel on, he'd be a little bit lighter, and this move would be much easier. But here's the move round the outside though, so Chevy's not going to give that up too easily into this little chicaney way in here. And around they go, Chevy holding Scarlet off, holding all the time. But Scarlet into this sweeping right-hander, as they've got the pits there on that right-hand side. And the road again sweeps round the right. And it kind of curls up the hill. And this is a tricky spot because you can't really see. There's a yellow flag up ahead. Somebody is crashing. Can't see who it is, but it's green light. So Chevy doing a good job actually holding Scarlet off at this particular moment in time. But how long can Chevy hold Scarlet at bay? Because Scarlet is on one. On the softer compound tyre, and absolutely putting a shift in terms of lap times. Apart from that one there, the 206, but that would have been an in lap. Fastest man on the racetrack is Roses. Was at one stage in the top 3, a bit of damage and dropped out. Is now I'll find out where they are in a minute. They are 17.3. Is their time 117.3, of course, not just 17 minutes and 3 seconds, or 17 seconds and 3 milliseconds. That would be an insanely good time, wouldn't it? Imagine. But so Chevy, there is still just 3/10 clear of Scarlet. Scarlet can't seem to get close enough to the back of Chevy to make the move on any of the I mean, there's not a huge amount of long straights, it's all very twisty and turny and curly and a bit windy, this track, but trying to find some sort of gap, some way. I mean, the best place to overtake is going to be into this turn here, because you've got sort of double right-hander. If you're brave enough to take it a little bit wider and dive up the inside, or you've got the chicane a little bit further down the road here, is another really good overtaking spot. But again, it's about bravery into the turn. It's about changing your line a little bit to get the angle you want, but most importantly, to make sure you get the maximum out of the corner. And Scarlet going down the outside, and if you look alongside there, it's always going to be difficult to make you overtake here unless you can hang this bit. And if you can get round just in the lead, you can nick it just as Scarlet did there. That, kids, is overtaking 101 from the Group 4 champion, Scarlet. So let's have a look at the front of the racetrack on the soft compound tyres. It's Luke Arse 36. Just put in on lap 40 the fastest lap of the race with a 1:17.274. So not only are they 22 seconds clear, they want it to be 23, and started to ramp it up with a back end of that car is flopping around like a freshly caught mackerel, but keeping it well under control is Lucas. HPR82, and I don't care what happens, where they finish. If the only thing that will prevent me giving them my driver of the day is for them to rage quit. So absolute phenomenal driving. Almost to the back of the pack by the end of lap 1, work their way back through the order and finds themselves into second position. The Truth Serum Sodium Pentothal has lost a couple of places. Was at one stage in this race 6 seconds clear. Now has the indignity of being only third. Lucas just closed down, and eventually took first position. And then a couple of not so great laps and a bit of a tank slapper from the Truth Serum. And we saw them dropping down to third place after the pit window. Mazda's now on those soft tyres. They've been looking pretty racy all day, to be fair. And in terms of lap times, it's just putting up 1:17.4. It's only a few tenths off the fastest lap that Lucas has chucked in, who's been driving very, very quickly as Lucas. So will that 4.9 second gap start to come down? If we look at the Truth Serum's last lap, 1:18.2, you could argue that 8 tenths a lap. I think by lap 46, 47, we're going to start to see some little battling going on there. Unless, of course, something goes horribly wrong. 18k, 0.37. 17 seconds off the back of Mazda. Not really in a position to put in any sort of challenge on. And let's be fair, the only real battle that I can expect possibly will be if that 7.3 second gap back to Joey Cannoli, which is that if they can close the gap to 80k, then that could be the battle. But I think the 17 seconds ahead is an insurmountable amount of seconds. Of course, anything can happen. There could be a smash, there could be a crash, there could be a spin, there could be a mass disconnection, leaving just one driver in the room. It could be all sorts of things that can happen. But let's assume that nothing is changing and everything is the same. 12.5 seconds from the back of Joey Cannoli is Tati, my fellow commentator. Very, very good commentator she is. To be fair, I should be out there driving and with people laughing at me, and she should be doing this job. But much better than I am. To be fair, the pair of them are very good. Very, very good commentators. I'd like to think I could call them a colleague of sorts. Doing very well, actually. Was running in that top 3 early on in the race, and then something went horribly wrong, and had to come in to get some repairs. Almost had that much desired battle with the big dog himself, but alas, that was not to be. The lap times just seem to be a little bit more consistent from Tati there in 7th place. Total no man's land for her at the moment. What can you say? It is complete no man's land, because it's 12 seconds up the road is Joey Cannoli, and 14 seconds back is the man that holds all the hammers. There he is, OGR Toolshed, from Aussie Mate. And he's in the Tom's Castrol. And talking to Tom, that's who's missing. No, there's Tom. I thought he was missing, but he's there. Behind Toolshed is Scarlet. And we've seen this battle before. We've seen this battle a few times before. 9.7 seconds is the gap. They're both on the soft compound tyres. It's going to be a difficult gap to close, particularly as they're both going quickly. Well, to be fair, everyone's been going quickly the whole race, but they're going even more quickly than they were going quickly before. 3.3 seconds back to Chevy as we see him under significant pressure now from the big dog himself. Can he make this move? Lap times coming down to much more representative quick times. Didn't have a great start to the race, took damage right off the bat, and that's chucked him all the way to the back of the pack. But now he's on the soft compound tyre, and he is giving it some beans. Chevy is on the medium tyres, and he's going to find it very difficult to defend just the extra traction. And the difference in I've noticed how Chris takes that corner very differently than most of the other drivers. He's he takes a much kind of wider line into the corner, but it seems to give very good traction out. It seems to apex it a little bit later than everybody else, and coming into the chicane, this is a really good overtaking opportunity. I think you just need to be a little bit closer. But to look at the traction out of that corner, just so much quicker on the gas, and so much more torque coming out of the corner because of having those softer compound tyres. And we're heading up to turn one. Turn one is where we saw HPR disappear off into oblivion. And there's the overtake move. Can it get stuck? They are side by side by side. And that battle's over. Chevy says, do you know what? I've had enough. I can't keep you at bay. Off you go, my friend. And President Dog says, thank you very much, man. Sweet. Cheers. And up into 10th place, and off he goes. His battle is with Tati up there in 7th place. It's 15 seconds to Toolshed, 9 seconds to Scarlet, and 5 seconds to Presidio Dog. So some work to do there if you want any hope of closing that up. And I don't know what happened to Chevy, but Chevy has dropped all the way back behind Average Viper, who is running in 11th place. Now, bearing in mind, Presidio Dog just overtook Chevy not even a whole lap ago, and he was just behind him. So he's clearly, in his little push, has over-pushed a little bit, and finds himself back in 12th place behind this man, Average Viper. 4.8 seconds is that gap behind. In fact, it's opening up even more. It looks like they're having a few problems with that shell car. Are they going into the pits? Yes, they are, because they have broken it. And in Chevy goes. That will promote Igorski from 13th up to 12th place. Igorski, the runner-up in Group 4 last season, moves up into 12th place, and that'll be 7.5 seconds behind Average Viper, or thereabouts, once he comes through, finally comes through. And ahead of Venom, quite some way ahead of Venom. And we have lost one driver from this race, but I can't for the life of me remember who it is. There is a way I can find out. It's called research. Shall we do that? Shall we have a look? See if I can remember who it is. So we know that Lucas is out in the lead. HPR from third on the grid, running in second. Joey Cannoli was second on the grid, and is now running in 6th place. So a few places dropped there. Tati started 4th, is now just behind Joey Cannoli in 7th place. Scarlet was 5th on the grid, with Average Viper 6th. Scarlet now 9th on the racetrack. Average Viper back in 11th place. Chevy was in 7th on the grid. He's now 13th on the racetrack, having just come out and repaired their car. And are they going to make a move immediately on Igorski? Looks like they are, and they made that move look very, very easy. You know, just not moments ago they were defending for their life, and now all of a sudden they're on a charge. 8th on the grid was this man here. He is now the race leader, and he's nearly 30 seconds clear. If he so wished, and he was allowed to, which is not, he could go in the pits. He could put on some new tyres, he could splash in some fuel, he could get some Old Spice, he could have a cup of coffee, and maybe a little time for a kiss from one of the ladies, and then he can back out on the racetrack and still in the lead. Fast man out there with a 1:17.0. Can Lucas give me what I want? And what I want is a 1:16.8. Can you give that to me, Mr. Lucas? As your car gets lighter, your tyres are grippier. Let's see if you can drop a couple more tenths for me. Starting in 9th place was ATK. That's a big movement forward for him. Up into 5th place. 4 places gained. The big dog himself, President Neo Dog, started 10th, is 10th. You can't get much more consistent than that, can you? But is he under now some pressure from the Viper? Average Viper, who was 6th, is now running in 11th place. Bit of a battle going on there. 11th place was Venom. Venom is now running in 14th. 14th and last, because we've lost someone from this race. It was going to be, I think it's Roses we've lost. It is indeed. It's Roses we've lost. High Pre Roses has disappeared. Now I know that he had some connection issues the other day in another lobby. And I wonder if it is a ongoing terminal problem that needs looking at. So he was under some pressure from not average vipers, wasn't it? I think it was Mazda coming through on the I was just saying the overtake's not the one I'm looking for. On the overlap, so he was lapping him essentially. Overlap, idiot. So yes, it's Roses we've lost. Roses was 12th, and is now nowhere. Is that a word? Nowhere. Well, it is now. Mazda is. I've just seen Mazda. Where is Mazda gone? Can't find Mazda. There he is, up into 4th place. That's a big jump from Mazda, because Mazda started, would you believe it, well, I suppose you would because it's true, in 13th place. So that's a big move forward from Mazda. Toolshed was 14th on the grid, up to 8th, so some places gained for Toolshed. Might be a good place to keep your spanners, but certainly doesn't drive like a bag of spanners, I can tell you that. And at the very back of the grid was this man here, Gorski, who's now up to 12th place. We've lost one driver from this race. It is Bite the Roses. He was here. He is now not here. I don't know what that was, whether that was a connection issue or a rage quit. I think it was probably a connection issue. But at one stage he was running in 3rd place. Not anymore. There is your race leader. He is 30 seconds clear and coming up to lap the back of Dirty Tatty. I talked at length earlier about blue flag etiquette and my thoughts on it, because very often you find there's two kind of schools of thought about blue flags, and there are some drivers who think that a blue flag means you should immediately get out of the way and compromise your own race to do it. And then there's another school of thought, which is that as the driver that is lapping, you should be planning ahead for when you arrive there, because you will at one stage or not arrive there. So you should be planning ahead and thinking about what happens when I get there, where on the racetrack's going to be the best place for me to make that overtake, to lap that car. And equally, then the person that's being lapped can also start thinking about, okay, how much quicker than me are they? Is it going to be easy for them to get past me? Do I compromise my race to let them past? And it should be that kind of ongoing process. And, it never ceases to amaze me when this situation is very good. Tati's clearly driving very fast. Lucas is not doing anything stupid, not forcing the issue. Knows that at the moment not being held up by Tati. At the stage when Lucas starts to feel he is being held up, then he can start to sort of look at making a move. But all the time that Tati is quicker than Luke, Tati's not obligated to move over to compromise the race to do so. Tati is quite entitled to continue racing. And Lucas now tucked in that slipstream. This will be the point where Tati says, okay, well look, and we'll say, Tati's own race, they're currently racing for track position. They are literally 7/10 behind Joey Canoli. And Lucas will know that, and Lucas will know that any attempt to kind of make a crazy dive up the inside is just going to jeopardise their race as well. Because I'll tell you what, you wouldn't be happy if you had to give up that place. And let's face it, the situation now is that Tati's going to try and find somewhere to let the faster Lucas through at some stage, but only when it's appropriate to do so. Personally, I would I would go wide. I mean, I don't want to go quite that wide. I would have gone wide in one of the corners and just let them go through, or go narrow in one of the corners and let them through. And picking up a penalty, Dirty Tatty, for doing that. Actually, I think that's a bit harsh, because all Tatty was really doing was giving Lucas some space to drive into, to move on up the road. And I suppose that all that Tatty can really hope now is that Lucas makes a very, very quick move around Joey Cannoli, and Joey Cannoli just gets forced backwards toward into the welcoming clutches of Tatiana. I'm running low on my caffeinated beverage. It's just as well we are an hour and 10 minutes in. We've got 20 minutes left of this race. Just half of this second half to go. Lucas making the move around Joey Cannoli, and Joey Cannoli 1.4 seconds ahead of Dirty Tatty. And how long will it be before we see Tatty crawling all over the back of Joey Cannoli? So we see Lucas going through the field. HPR 82. Some phenomenal driving from them to burn their way back through the field. 31 seconds behind Lucas at the moment. That for me, that's an insurmountable amount of time. It would need to be some phenomenally quick laps. And bear in mind, they're finishing this race on the medium tyre, as opposed to Lucas on the softicals. Mazda on the soft tyres, 9.4 seconds. Now that gap is not insurmountable. They're lapping at around, apart from the anomaly of the 121.9 there. I don't know what happened there. Something happened to the truth serum, because he's now quit the race. Something happened to the truth serum somewhere along the line. I was about to ask where they disappeared to. They were. Now, bear in mind, the truth serum was out, way out in front, winning this race, and then it all just seemed to go a little bit wrong. And just a little message there saying something about race being ruined. Did someone crash into them? Was there a look? At the end of the day, this is how it works. If there's an on-track problem, yeah, then there is a robust stewarding system to deal with such issues, and you submit those issues to the stewarding team. The stewards will look at it, and they will make a decision. And if you are right and someone's in the wrong, they will get a punishment, and places will be reallocated accordingly, places or points or whatever. One thing I'm starting to realise is that I'm very not inclined to look at issues when you've got situations where people kick off and start screaming and shouting, or posting stupid things all over Discord or wherever it is, and basically acting like children. Because the fact of the matter is, I've got enough children at home. If I want to listen to people acting like children, overall it's essentially a game, let's be fair. I've got 5 of them in my house. Well, most of them are actually adults now, but I've got 5 of them in my house, and if I want to listen to them arguing like children, I'll ask one of them to do it. I actually like them. There's a way to do it. You follow the process. If you're not happy with how something's happened, just accept it. And the thing is, as what you have to accept, it's racing, man. This is racing, and sometimes when you're racing, things happen. And there we go. Look at that, right there. That. I tell you what, that couldn't have proved my point any better had I planned that. And thank you very much, Lucas, for your cock up there. As you would thank your servicemen and women, thank you for your service, Lucas. Anything can happen. Things like that can happen. Crashes happen. You are racing machines at high speed around a racetrack, and sometimes you lose control. Sometimes you push a little bit too hard, and things happen. And I think you have to accept that crashing and your race being over is part and parcel of the game. Let's be fair, GT7, it's not, whatever damage you do to your car is not terminal, ever. That's not what I'm going to say. I was not going to have my little motorbike. I do see quite a lot of people, particularly in some of the forums and online, moaning about, oh, this guy crashed into me. And look, it's a pain in the arse. I get it. You know, you spend 30 minutes racing on one of the dailies or one of these races, and you end up getting crashed out. Of course, it's going to piss you off. You know, I absolutely get it. But what you need to recognise is that it's not terminal damage. You can still go out there and you can still have a little race and still do whatever you're doing. You know, most of these people that moan wouldn't survive a minute playing a game like F1 or Assetto Corsa, where you know, you get damage, but you could also get terminal damage. I mean, of course, on F1, when you're racing on the F1 games, your tyres can pop. A safety car can come out when you least expect it. An engine can blow on you, and these are things all out of your control that are part and parcel of racing. And I think if you want to go for some sim racing and some realism, and I know GT7 is more of a simcade than it is a sort of true racing simulator. But by the same token, it's kind of part of racing that someone might take you out or you're going to crash. And I think you just need to an extent, just accept it and not think that every crash must be punished. Yeah, look, don't get wrong, someone deliberately takes you out or someone's driving like a bellend, they need to be punished. But for the most part, it's racing, man. Suck it up. But anyway, Lucas, thank you very much for that little demonstration there. You are 28.8 seconds clear of HPR. Was first, was second, was on the grass, was nearly last, is now second again. Way back up the field, some great driving there. Just coming up to lap the man with a bag of spanners, Toolshed. Mazda, great movement up the field from Mazda, and in third place, currently inside that top three, and running well in that top three. 7.9 seconds off the back of HPR, 33 seconds clear of Attack, who is in fourth place from Canada. So we have a 12-second gap back to Tati. So Tati's starting to work the way back through the field. And go Tatiana. I think it's very clear who's winning the battle of the broadcasters. Tatiana in fifth place. One stage was third. Had a little knockings. Went into repair. Found themselves just ahead. Only by about 10 seconds. Ahead of Presidio Dog. Couldn't capitalise on it, couldn't catch her up, couldn't make race happen. So Tati said, okay, you don't want to race me, there's someone up ahead that will, and is now running in fifth place. 16 seconds back is a Joey Canoli, who is himself only 9. It's 9 seconds up from Bag of Spanners Toolshed, running in 7th place and looking quite comfortably in 7th as well. 2.8 seconds ahead of his group champion. Toolshed finishing 3rd in that group, of course. His group champion is this guy here, Scarlet, from the ice racing team based out of Australia, run by my old buddy Benjo and Kevin. Really cool little team, and yeah, check them out. When you're not checking out GT Champions or, of course, Black Flag, go and check out the ice racing team. A nice bunch of lads over there. 3.4 seconds is the gap back to the big dog. Gained a place, was started 10th, is now in 9th place. Can he start to put a move on the Group 4 champion in Scarlet? Didn't have a very good first lap. And to be fair, if you look at the lap times, actually, they are akin with the sort of lap times that Lucas in the lead, HPR been putting in, Mazda's been putting in, certainly quicker than ATK, and at the moment certainly quicker than the sort of laps that Tati's putting in. But it doesn't count for a thing if you're not got the track position. And there has been a coming together between what looks like Scarlet and who else? Who else was involved there? So Scarlet was involved, and was that Joey Canoli? Yes, it was. Did they have a coming together, or did one of them crash and then catch the other one? Well, it looks to me that Scarlet's okay. So the question here is then, was it that Scarlet was more caught up in the crash that Joey Canoli had? They pick up a half-second penalty for some track limits there. That'd be interesting to watch back again. But it kind of, the end of it unfolded in front of us. And we're talking about were Presidio Dog and Tatiana going to have a battle. And as if by magic, two cars in front have a little fight. Not necessarily together, as Average Viper fishtails the back of his car, wiggling around like a wiggly worm on the end of a hook. And yeah, so 19 seconds back from Scarlet is Viper. Joe Canoli has dropped 2 seconds back, but significant damage to that car. And I think by the time they've come around, I mean, they're going to pull into the pits shortly. But I think by the time they've come round, I think we're going to see Gorski potentially stealing 10th place from Joey Canoli, who pulls into the pits to do some very necessary repairs. Fastest lap is still with Lucas. Still not giving me my 16.8 I asked for. And I got to say, I'm very disappointed in you, my friend. 17.0 is the fastest lap currently. We are on lap 63. We have 9 minutes left in this race. So that's going to be about, it's going to be about 7-8 laps left for me. Seven laps left, you reckon? Making it a 70 lap race. Tyres starting to look a little bit ropey for those soft tyre runners, but should make it no problem. This just goes to show that kind of pace up front. That is ATK just in front of Lucas. ATK is in 4th place, and Lucas is one entire whole lap ahead of whole lap. So Lucas sorry, I was miles away. HB, I was looking and thinking, how can they be that far ahead? But then I thought there was it's quite a big gap between Mazda and ATK, isn't there? Yeah, I was a little bit confused at first, but no, it makes sense now. HPR is in 2nd place, 30 seconds back from Lucas, and barring a disconnection, and we've seen it happen. I remember one of the races this year, Devlin was leading a race by quite some way, and got disconnected and ended up obviously not finishing the race at all. So it can happen. So Lucas will either doesn't crash or doesn't disconnect, will probably win this race. HBR for me, driver of the day, just for coming back to 2nd after all of that trouble. 6.1 seconds clear of Mazda. Then it's 44 seconds back to ATK. And it explains why ATK has just been lapped, because if you think about it, 1 minute 20 back from the leader, and it's a 1 minute 20 lap. It would make sense that they were that far back when they were being lapped. Tati up to 5th place. I'll tell you what, this is some performance from Tatiana, especially when you consider that one stage they had dropped right back after taking some damage and had to do some emergency repairs. But now up to 5th place, really, really solid racing. 29, nearly 30 seconds ahead of my favourite place to keep tools, who's just being lapped there by Mazda. 1.2 back to Presidio Dog. Hot dog, hot dog, hot diggity dog. Are they able to give Toolshed something to think about? Well, they give Toolshed something to think about every time he looks in the mirror, because every time he looks in the mirror, he sees the front of this car. What does he see? He sees, no, you can see that, he sees that, but the other way around. Why can't I show you that bit? Oh, I can. That's what he sees. He sees that in his mirror. And the little message for Tatiana on the front of that car. But he's got to get past Toolshed first and close down the, 30 seconds to Tatiana. So we're, less than 6 minutes from the end of this race. It is Lucas 31 seconds clear from the United States of America, leading this race from HPR, and I haven't got a clue what country that flag is. I'm assuming it's like I don't know. I'm not even going to guess. I'm not going to guess purely because I don't know. And if I do guess, I might guess right, but I also might offend somebody if I get it horribly wrong, so I'm not going to. HPR is 7.2 seconds clear of the Aussie Mazda. Mazda in the Nissan, of course. Who's 47 seconds clear of Attack from Canada. 1.9 seconds back from Attack is Tatiana, who's on the Attack, trying to close down that gap. There's only a few laps remaining. Is there final swan song from your favourite broadcaster and my favourite broadcaster in Tatiana, 32, and she's from the United States, of course. 32 seconds back now to Presidio Dog, who has made it past Toolshed. And what a fitting tribute to finally make it that they're finished fifth and they'll finish behind each other in the race. The only problem is, of course, is that there are 30 odd seconds between them. So Presidio Dog is that side of the racetrack, and Tatiana is on that side of the racetrack. But they can wave. I think it's there a little bit where it's quite close. They can wave. There we go. So if you just look to your right hand side, Presidio, little way through the trees, and there is Tatiana. So Toolshed back in 7th place. Toolshed from New Zealand. 1.9 seconds back from Presidio Dog from the United States. 24 seconds back to the highest ranked British driver. Now we've lost Roses. In 8th place, it's Average Viper, and he is 13.7 seconds clear of the Belgian Skylar. Skylar? Who's Skylar? Scarlett Pascal is carrying a half-second penalty. He's 16 seconds clear of Igorski, the American driver, who at the moment is under significant pressure from Joey Cannoli, who is literally crawling over the back. And this looks like a bit of a battle that's going on. Joey Cannoli, we saw coming back on the racetrack after what looked like a bit of a tussle with Scarlett further back a couple of laps ago. But Joey Cannoli up into 10th place, making that pass look very, very easy. Already over half a second away from Igorski. Igorski from the United States of America, of course, is 15 seconds clear now of another American driver, the Chevy 210. Not driving a Chevy, he's actually driving a Nissan. So we've got a Mazda driving a Nissan, we've got a Chevy driving a Nissan. Terrible behaviour. I have the correct car, man. Then we've got 46 seconds back to Venom, who's running in last place, but won't be classified last because we had Roses. We've lost Roses from this race for I don't know what reason. Whatever reason, we have lost them, and we've lost one other from the race, and that is. You know what? It's stupid in the morning, and I can't remember things. It's stupid in the morning. It was our bloody leader for ages. How do I not remember what his bloody name is? How awful is that? Say, very awful, Andy. Very awful. Oh, of course, it's sodium pentothal, the truth serum. Yes, so the truth serum is indeed way out of here. Has left us. It looked like in a fit of, let's say, unhappiness. Let's just say that unhappiness, shall we? Rage quit. So there's runners. Fastest man on the racetrack is this man here, Lucas, 36. And to be fair, once he got into the lead of this race, never really looked in doubt. Lap 69. Such a child, Andy. Such a child. I hear you cry. And I think we might have a lap 70. It'd be really cool to finish on lap 69 because I am literally 4 years old. And this will be the last lap. We finished on 69. How way cool is that? Did you plan it, Chris? Did you plan it? We are watching the winner of this race. Mazda comes home in 3rd place. Presidio Dog in 6th. Toolshed in 7th. But we're watching the leader and the winner of this All-Star race, Lucas 36. And he will come home very soon as the All-Stars champion at the end of 2023. I think this is the end of racing for GT Champions 4. We're not even in 2023 yet. Lucas brings it home. HPR 82 will follow him home in about 33 days or seconds, whichever comes first. So everyone else pretty much finished, bar HPR 82, who will round this little chicane here to the left and to the right, jump up and down and do the knees, aga do. Round past the pit entrance to this right hand side, and across the line goes HPR 82. Lucas from HPR, from Mazda, good race from Mazda. 80k in 4th. Tati, great performance in 5th place. Presidio Dog comes home in 6th. Toolshed in 7th. Viper in 8th. Scholar in 9th. Joey Canoli comes home in 10th. Igorski in 11th. Chevy in 12th. 13th is Venom. And unclassified for this race is Sodium Pentothal, the Truth Serum, and High Pre Roses, who I know has had some connection issues. And Higginbotham Brothers Racing. That would be Venom and Igorski, of course. And I'm sure he's got the same thing on the side of his car somewhere. But there we go. So that's it. Done and dusted. Finished. Finito. I'm going to have a little chat with Lucas, with HPR, and with Mazda, and I'll see if we can get. I think we should try and get Presidio Dog back on if we can as well, bearing in mind that he is our glorious leader. So that's the finished lineup. That is racing with GT Champions. That kind of sums up what an entire season of racing with GT Champions is like. It is full on. Anything can happen. Things change in a blink of an eye, in the snap of a finger, in a heartbeat. But today, your champion, I don't know why I'm watching him, because the person we should be watching is this guy right here, Lucas. Great race in that Pennzoil Nissan. Nismo Nissan, alongside Dirty Tatty there in 5th place. Brilliant race from him. Well-deserved win. 32 seconds was that gap in the end. And put your hands in the air in a defiant fit of thanks to the world. Is it actually going to load that bit, or are we kind of stuck in a bit of limbo? It's all gone dark. There we go, done and dusted. Jesus finally took the wheel, apparently. There we go. So there was your. That was it. We're finished. It's all over. No more GT champions for 2022. What can we say? What do we do now with ourselves for the rest of the year? Well, you can come and join me on Black Flag and watch. I've got a couple of bits left before I finally shuffle off this mortal coil for this year. I don't mean actually shuffle off, that'd be ridiculous. Be back very shortly. We're going to have some interviews with the top 3. Your top 3 is Lucas, HPR, and how can I have already forgotten it? Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get one anyway. Catch up with you shortly. Well, it appears between us we don't all have all the permissions to go in the same chat group. Is what it is. No worries. But look, it was an awesome season. I mean, on behalf of GT Champions, I want to thank DJing Group, Metropolis.com, Digit Gaming Edge, Pride of the Dragon, Hyperi, and RWB Racing for putting this show together. Personally, I want to thank Chris for being the glue that holds it all together, and for giving me the opportunity to get involved with broadcasting with the team here, and also for Tatiana for lots of help with my broadcasting. I know I've still got loads of shit to learn, but it is what it is. Looking forward to 2023. Those of you that I will speak to between now and Christmas, I'm not going to say Happy Christmas to you yet, because it's not time to. But if I don't see you or hear from you, very Merry Christmas. Let's say it now, because it's only a week away. It's literally a week away from Christmas. I think this time, in 1 week's time, I will be forcing my 8-year-old to stay in bed, probably. But look, thank you very much for joining me. All that's left really for me to say is Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This has been the GT Champions All Stars at Road Atlanta in the United States of America. I've been Aaron Pirate from Black Flag Racing TV on behalf of GT Champions. It's been a pleasure. It's been emotional, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in the new year for more racing, potentially Porsche Cups racing.